Hey, hi. This is Ray McGuff with the last Roundup Horror Show Spotlight, where we spotlight an independent film. We take a little light, we shine it on that film. We go, hey, this is a film that you should probably watch, or maybe not, but we spotlight it. I'm your host, like I said, Ray McGuff. We're taking another stab at a recent submission. It was a little sad. I guess it didn't get the response that I was hoping for, and that the director was hoping for. But my cohort in Schlockfest, Jean-Paul Mantilla, did a review of Dead Kansas. Didn't care for it. Wasn't very enthusiastic about it. So I thought I'd take a stab at it and give it a watch. Normally, he really loves these type of schlocky, low-budget horror films. So I thought, well, if he doesn't like it, maybe I will. But so today's feature is Dead Kansas. It's a 2013 film that was actually a 5-part web series on YouTube, and then I guess it was condensed down into a 64-minute film. It's from Rotten Productions, written, directed, produced by Aaron Carter. He's also done several other movies. You can check out some of our other reviews of his films on the Last Roundup Horror Show podcast channel. Let's see here. It's starring Erwin Keyes, Joe McQueen, Ben Wolfe, and the main actress, I would say she's the main character, is played by two separate women, a Alexandria Lightford and an Erin Miracle. Quick side note, from what I understand, one of the two actresses that originally started the series was unable to continue, so they had to do the dreaded recast. That has plagued quite a few independent films that I know of as well. Sometimes it happens, you can't stop life. That's what I always say. I don't always say it, but I say it occasionally. Whoa, hey, you kicked the door on my bar there. Well, you enjoying yourselves yet? Glad you tuned in for this. At any rate, the film is called Dead Kansas. I wanted to also give a shout out to the editor of this film, Trevor Penna. Now, he had some really cool edits. We'll get to that. The film is basically a short zombie film, a take on a zombie film. Very much like I thought in the vein of The Walking Dead. They refer to their Walking Dead as the Rottens, which is pretty cool. Right off the bat, we're introduced to Jeb, Glenn, and Ellen. Or Emma, I'm sorry. Jeb, Glenn, and Emma, I believe. Hopefully I wrote that down right. At any rate, Glenn and the young lady are father and daughter, and he's protecting his daughter. Jeb is for all intents and purposes, a religious fundamentalist type who's come to their location, the father and daughter, to seize the daughter to propagate the earth, like the Bible says. So that's how we get our conflict started. Right off the bat, these guys show up at this dude's farm. Bang, da boom. They request the lady. The dad tells them politely to hit the bricks. And then all of a sudden, what happens in Kansas? What happens in Kansas in the middle of tense situations? I'm going to tell you. Tornado alert. So the young lady and the dad run into the basement, lock the doors. I'm guessing the other guys take off. I didn't really catch that. I think they did say they were leaving at one point. It's a very tense standoff for a while over this girl. But there's a tornado coming, so you got to get inside. Tornado happens. They have a very tender moment. I won't bore you with the details. It's not boring. I actually found this part to be pretty cool. I liked the exposition. As always with a first-time out short film, you're going to have some acting issues. There are a few choppy, I would say, lines, I guess, or just the way that the lines were delivered were a little choppy in parts, but overall, I dug the tone. I really liked the way it was shot. This basement scene's really cool. Has a cool setup for a really cool shot. But basically, father and daughter are running through some things, and he tells her that you gotta basically suck it up and learn to live in this environment. Tornado goes by. The dad goes up to see what's going on. You hear, this is really cool use of off-camera stuff because you can hear the FX going. You hear gunshots, what sounds like the Rottens eating or trying to attack. It goes on for a solid minute. It's a good tense builder. I really like this kind of. This is my this is kind of my niche. I love, or niche, whatever. I love certain types of film. I don't know, maybe it's because I watched 70s exploitation films as a kid, but certain things where you can tell that the person is smart that's handling the money. Because they were like, instead of doing this huge production value scene, they had some really high quality FX put into a scene where your imagination takes over. I love it. It's smart. So outside you hear what's going on, but you don't see it physically. The daughter is kind of freaking out. The dad finally runs back down into the basement, shuts the cellar door to where we find out that, yes, he has been bitten by a rotten. He ties his arm off and sets it on a workbench and goes to town on this bad boy, cuts his arm off, kind of bandages it. Then this is where we get the other very cool part in the cellar scene, is the arm sitting on the workbench is in the shot, the frame, as they're discussing where they're going to go, what's happened, and things of that nature. The dad's really sick at this point, obviously, because he just cut his arm off. So they skedaddle. They make their way out of the house, meet up with some other characters. I want you guys to watch this, so I won't go into much detail. I don't want to ruin anything. But they meet some other characters. She leaves her dad and goes off to find a doctor. This is where we get a very cool scene with the doctor. And I want to say in between the juxtaposition of chapters, or they call them acts 1, 2, 3, 4, they have some really awesome punk music. And I looked it up. The band that's playing is Power of Aggression. I believe they're punk, or it's very heavy. So I would put it in a punk category, but it's very, very well done. Power of Aggression, they used to be called Gauntlet. I believe they're from Hollywood, California. So I want to give them a shout out. Power of Aggression, if they're still around. Jesus criminy, I'm kicking my drawers all over here. But Power of Aggression, back at it. Check them out if you can. I would hope they'd still be around. They're pretty good. But so in between the acts, you get this music, and it cuts into a few acts. But when she gets to the doctor, you get a really cool. I skipped over a part. Basically, too, when they meet this new group of people, there's a giant, a little person, and whatnot. It's like an eclectic, weird, like carnival setting, and I don't want to ruin too much of it, but it's pretty cool. Anyways, so from there, the girl, like I said, has to go get a doctor for her dad. She gets help from another gentleman, and they go to this doctor's house, hoping to bring him back. But the crazy doctor in this is fantastic. I liked him a lot. I don't know his acting name. I didn't get it. But he has some great lines. There's some great banter. He's basically telling her, "Fuck you! I'm in a wheelchair. I'm a doctor in a wheelchair. I'm not going anywhere." So I really liked that. As we're seeing this, we're also getting Jeb, the crazy guy who has the cult that wants the woman to propagate the earth. He's back with his boys, and they decide to go looking for her. They go back to the farm. They realize that some shit's gone down, so they're on the lookout for the dad and the daughter. They're chasing the dad and the daughter all over the place, and they happen to get the same info, and they show up at the doctor's. They kidnap her. Then they show a scene where he's taken the girl back to where she met her original. I guess it's their camp. Jesus Christ! I guess it's their camp, and the religious group. So she's got him. He's got her in like a cage at this point. Plays guitar very well, Jeb, our crazy leader. There's some really great things about this movie that I liked, and it's that they didn't overdo the. Like, you could tell that they had a low budget, but they kept the zombie makeup to a minimum. There's some pretty cool zombies. And then what I like they did is they did a lot of first-person zombie kills. And I always thought that was a cool way, too, to put some of the budget. And again, put it on the viewer to kind of imagine what's going on. But I like that first person in your face. Like, guy's got a pitchfork. He's like, rah! I liked it. It's very well done, too. The one thing about this movie I keep going back to is that it impressed me for clearly how little money they had. And again, I could be wrong. They could have millions of dollars. Maybe they were, putting that into Chipotle franchises or something. I don't know. But I'm telling you, I think they did it on a very low budget, shoestring, and they did some really smart things. It looks good, though. And I enjoyed the story. Is pretty great. After they had beat the doctor up and taken the girl, we cut back to there. The guy that was with the girl that has the pitchfork, this cool dude, he says, we got to go save her, Her dad was nice to all of these people, growing up, or after growing up. After this situation happened, he kind of was there. Kind of like their religious man. They kept calling him preacher, but he wasn't really a preacher. He was just a guy he was kind of like the Herschel character of The Walking Dead, if you've seen that. If not, pick up a book, The Walking Dead, and read it. I'm not going to fucking spoon feed it for you. So do that. One of my favorite parts is when they're rescuing, they obviously go to rescue the girl. Jeb makes this comment. He says, I got it. Let me help you with that. And then shoots this guy in the head, which is a phenomenal part. You'll be on the lookout for that. When Jeb says, I got it. Pretty good. They rescue the girl. There's a flashback that shows exactly why Glenn and Jeb hate each other, which basically involves a drunk Jeb smacking Glenn's wife on the butt and saying he's going to get some of that. The very end of the movie, all the zombies that they have rounded up get loose. There's some action ensues, and again, I don't want to tell you the ending, but there is an ending that could lead to more. I hope there is more. I wish that this was an ongoing series. I know it was the first try in this gentleman, Aaron Carter, and I know it was his first outgoing, but I'm telling you, Aaron K. Carter, he should pick it up. Maybe do a couple of years later after with a new cast and have the story of how those zombies got out as the legend as to why the rest of the town fell or something. I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. I'm an idea man. What can I say? There's a really cool beat up truck in this too that I wish I owned, which would be fantastic. Or like a beat up RV, if you will. I really liked that kind of stuff. The little details in this are great. Because again, you could tell, I believe, that they were really working their budget, and it seemed like they got every penny out of it. Rating on IMDb for this one is 7 out of 10. I think I would agree with that rating. 7 out of 10 is what I would pick out of the last Roundup Horror Show scale. It is a solid first outing. I saw some clear things that were wrong, having to change, or that I disliked. Having to change out the actresses, again, is a little off-putting, but I understand the reason behind it. Some of the dialogue seems stilted. A couple of times it's almost like they put characters in for character's sake because they really have maybe they're, again, setting up for season 2, I don't know. But it didn't seem like some of them played out as well. I think you could have cut that down to a core group pretty easily. But overall, I enjoyed this. I don't know. I don't normally get into this like real low budget horror stuff, but lately the submissions that have to the channel have been great. So I am disagreeing with my friend on this one, Jean-Paul Mantilla. He and I disagree on this one. I'm giving it a solid 7 out of 10. I'm going to give it 7 out of 10 rottens. Ding! I've got one more little treat for you, ladies and gentlemen. I got a little behind the scenes, something I'm calling Facts from Behind the Screams. Huh? You like what I did there? Screams, facts from behind the screams. These are a little sad, these facts, but Erwin Keyes, who played... Jesus, very sorry about that again. Erwin Keyes, who played the Giant in this film, who I referenced earlier, is part of this, like, they seemed like carnival kind of people. I don't think they were. They were just probably supposed to be an eclectic group of people, but they came off to me like carnival workers. But anyways, he passed away from a rare growth disease, which is sad. And actor Ben Wolf, he was a little guy, he got hit by a car, and I guess he's no longer with us as well. Again, I think that both actresses that they switched out, because that's another fact on here, is that they used two different actresses. I think they both deserve our adulation. They both deserve for me to say they're good. I may have said the wrong words. But again, Alexandria Lightford and Aaron Miracle, both you did a very interesting things with the time that you had on the screen. The actress who played Emma, if I'm saying it correctly, or Ella, I wrote down Ellen in one part, so maybe I was just... But anyways, the girl that did the actress, or the girl that played the young lady in the beginning, she did a very interesting thing on her end. I liked her emotiveness, was great. And then the second actress, I could say that she had an expressive face too, not quite as much as the first girl, but she reminded me of somebody that you would see in a kick-ass one-on-one slasher film who would hold their own against the bad guy, against getting slashed. Maybe fight back a little. I liked her spunk and spark. But that's it for me. Again, I've been Ray McGuff with the podcast Schlockfest, also on Area 42 podcast. Schlockfest, if you don't know, is a little project that I do with Jean-Paul Mantia, co-host, and he tortures me with schlocky films and we discuss them. Area 42, I do with co-host Jake Thornburg, and we talk about life's mysteries. Are there aliens? Is there ghostesses? Will we ever have a flying fucking car? What happened at the Datlov Pass, man? Those things and more, because the truth is around here someplace on Area 42 podcast. Those can be found on the Zombie Takeover TV page, Podbean, Stitcher, among others. Look out for them. Again, I've been your host, Ray McGuff. This has been Last Roundup Horror Show Spotlight. Also checked out the Last Roundup Horror Show as well. You probably came here from there, but if you didn't, go here to there. Last Roundup Horror Show podcast, Stitcher, Podbean, Zombie Takeover TV page. Again, I've been reviewing Dead Kansas, 2013 film by Aaron K. Carter. I've given it 7 out of 10 rottens. Stay tuned.